Hey everybody, Questwise here. I got my Rifts hat on. You know what that means? That's going to be part two. We're going to talk about Palladium books, part two of our how to get started in a Rifts campaign. And I'll put a link down below for the part one of this if you'd like to check that out. It's a little bit longer of a video. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. This will be actually the first video really focused upon a beginning game master and how to get started by bringing Rifts to the table and the ways that you can do that. This video is going to be taking place sort of after your first adventure and what you want to do in order to continue with your Rifts campaign. First and foremost, I think that after the first adventure, after the first game is over, you've already created your characters, you've run your sort of intro scenario, you've added your sort of adventure hooks, and those kind of ideas, and hopefully by now the players, by the end of that first campaign or first adventure, the players have sort of shown you what sort of direction they want to go. When you're finished with that adventure, what I highly recommend is that you sit down and talk to your players and be like, okay, look, what about this game do you like? What don't you like? What part of the adventure do you like or you don't like? What sort of direction do you want to go with this? You can talk to them about whatever sort of adventure seed that they sort of latched onto and sort of get some ideas. Don't be afraid to talk to your players outside of the game and ask them about things like, where do you see this going? Are there any rules that they're unsure about? Is there anything that maybe can be cleared up for next time? The ideas that maybe you screwed up on a few things, and that's your cue to be like, okay, look, how how do you feel about these things? Should we? How are we going to fix this? How can we integrate this into our game? And then I think once you're done talking with them, you want to go home and you want to read over the parts that they were a little unclear on to make sure you have them sort of down and perfect. There's things out there. There's rules in the game that can be a little confusing. Sometimes the role of combat is different than most other games out there. While it's very similar, it's like structurally it's different. In that everybody has a certain number of actions and that those sort of roll throughout the combat round. And so that can be a little confusing, especially if you're coming from games like D&D or some of those more D20 games. While it's similar, it does have some differences, and so those might be confusing. The other ones that a lot of early people stumble over on are like if you're using missiles, missile launcher, multiple missiles, long range missiles, that kind of stuff. Those can be a little bit confusing as well too, and like how many hit and what happens when they don't, and all that kind of stuff. So you want to go home and you're fresh from that first adventure, that first session, and you want to think about and read over those things that you may have stumbled over or the players maybe just were a little confused about. You also want to just take some time and make sure you have the rules down and kind of refresh yourself on the rules before you hit the next session and stuff as well, and kind of clear up any of those ideas. And feel free to reach out to the communities on Facebook or to me, and if you have any questions about how certain things work, and I'll try to get back to you. And there's a lot of great people out there in the communities as well too, especially the unofficial Palladium Books Megaversal Ambassadors page, where they will answer a lot of questions for you and help you kind of work through some of these new ideas. Don't be afraid to house rule anything. One of the it's a role playing game, right? It's a game, and we all want to enjoy it. And so if there's something in there that you're not really fond of, or if there's something in there that sort of like doesn't fit your group very well, don't be afraid to house rule. But there's one caveat to that. Be sure you know the rules as written first before you begin to sort of tinker with them. Play it as close to rules as written as possible, and then once you get to the point where you're very comfortable with those things, then you can start to play around with house ruling things and making some changes. If you begin to start tinkering with the rules, and these rules have been around for a long time, so they've been through the sort of crucible, as it were. They do work to most degrees, and like I said, it kind of varies from group to group, but if you find something that doesn't fit for your group, feel free to house rule it. It is your game, and do with it what you want. But make sure you know the rules as written first, because if you begin to tinker with things before you actually know the true rules, it can quickly unbalance a game very, very fast. The next thing I want to talk about, and I touched upon this in the first video a little bit, is the bestiary, right? The bestiary, Rifts Bestiary. This just came out. This is volume 1. It's available over on their website right now for sale. And I talked a little bit about this before, is that you're going to want a copy of this, and you're going to want to start using monsters out of it, but you got to be careful for your first campaigns. I mentioned that one of the things that Palladium doesn't do, and it's kind of a boon and a bane, is that they don't give you sort of like levels for monsters. It's not like Pathfinder where everything's sort of leveled to the character, and I like that because it gives you the ability to put the players into real danger. But you don't want to start killing people right off the bat, right? Unless that's the kind of campaign you're looking for. But what I would be very careful about is looking for MDC of the main body of creatures that fit somewhere close to what your players are at as well too. So in here I would look for things like a main body MDC of like 1d6 times 100 or 1d4 times 100. Probably a little bit easier for the first couple levels and stuff, and then you can kind of ramp up from here. Now this does not only have just giant monsters like depicted on the cover, but it also has some really cool just ordinary creatures, or ordinary to Rift's Earth anyway. So you can throw those in there as well too. Bears, wolves, that kind of stuff. And that will actually put up quite a nice little challenge for some early, first level players and stuff. So just be careful when you're picking monsters from this, unless you really want some sort of a deadly encounter where you want your players to sort of think on their feet as to how they're going to escape this thing or try to bring it down or avoid it, kind of thing. Be careful in what you pick from there. One of the other things I highly recommend is picking up a copy of the Rifter. Rifter was on a hiatus for a little bit, but it is now back. It is available. The newest issue is on their website as well, and pick it up. It's full of great ideas. The Rifter is sort of a magazine / source book that is full of great ideas for a variety of different Palladium games. The great thing about Palladium games, though, is that all the rules are interchangeable, and you can use stuff from, say, a Heroes Unlimited article in your Rifts campaign if you want to. But check out the Rifter. It's a very, very cool product. It comes out monthly. It's chock full of great ideas, great adventures, adventure seeds, new monsters, new items, all that kind of stuff. So if you're sort of in you're in your first couple of adventures and you just need some inspiration for further hooks or items to give to your players, the Rifter is a great way to check it out. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me down below in the comments, or go over to my Facebook page, with the Questwise Facebook page, and send me a private message or post something on there. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I want people to succeed in this game because I love this company. I love the products, and I really love to see the community growing, as it were, and people are out there playing it and excited about it and stuff as well too. So I don't want people to get into the game and get frustrated with it right away. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will try to help you out or point you in a direction of where you can find that help as well too. I hope this has been a helpful video. If you would like to see more of them, please drop a note in the comments down below. But until next time, I'm Questwise, and I am out.